Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video there is lots to negotiate about. So I am going to be going through with you the 5 midfielders that could replace Paul Pogba at Manchester United if Paul Pogba does leave the football club in the summer transfer market. Now, I was reading reports on Paul Pogba yesterday from the mainstream media, and it does say that Damasio, who is a very reliable Italian journalist, he's come out and said that Manchester United and Juventus have had conversations over a swap deal, regarding Paul Pogba. But Damasio does believe from his own perception that Paul Pogba will leave Manchester United, because it does say that Juventus are willing to offer a couple of their players in exchange for Paul Pogba. So now let's go through it, and a bit later on in the video I'm going to be talking with you a bit about Declan Rice, and I'm also going to delve into more topics. So the one midfielder that could replace Paul Pogba at Manchester United, and that is Aaron Ramsey. Now there's actually been quite a bit of speculation about Aaron Ramsey in the mainstream media, and I think maybe there's quite a few Manchester United fans that would take Aaron Ramsey at the football club. I think also too Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is an admirer of the player because he has got a good pedigree in the Premier League, because don't forget Aaron Ramsey endured 11 years with Arsenal. He was a very, very long-serving player for them. Don't forget Arsenal got him in 2008 from Cardiff for around £5 million. Aaron Ramsey, of course, I think made over 300 appearances for Arsenal in all competitions and just over 200 appearances in the Premier League. Of course, he is now at Juventus, Aaron Ramsey. Of course, Juventus got him on a free transfer from Arsenal last summer, and I think he's the second highest paid player at Juventus is Aaron Ramsey, just behind Cristiano Ronaldo. And Ramsey has got a contract with Juventus until 2023. He is the age of 29. He is predominantly a box-to-box midfielder, but you can also play him on the left wing and you can also play him on the right wing. So his versatility is very, very good. So he's one player that could possibly replace Paul Pogba. I think he's one of the players that Juventus are willing to offer us in exchange for Paul Pogba. So he's one player. Now, there's been another player that's been mentioned, and that's Miralem Pjanic, if I have pronounced his name correctly. Let me know in the comments below if I've pronounced his name wrong. Now, Miralem Pjanic, I think, has been at Juventus since 2016. I think he's been put in the Serie A Team of the Year for the past 4 seasons, reflecting on his good performances. I think Juventus did pay around £28 million for him from Roma back in 2016. And I think he's won around 3 titles with Juventus. So yeah, so reportedly, he's another player that Juventus are willing to offer us. Another player, that could possibly, replace Paul Pogba at Manchester United, and that is Jack Grealish. Now, don't forget, we have been relentlessly linked with Jack Grealish from Aston Villa. Now, obviously, we do know how much Jack Grealish will cost us. He will cost us around 70 or 80 million pounds. That's providing Aston Villa do avoid relegation. But if Aston Villa were to go down, then I don't think he'd cost 70 or 80 million pounds. Maybe you could get him on the cheap. Now, don't forget, I'll reiterate what I mentioned the other day. I did say, didn't I, Jadon Sancho's moved to Man United and Jack Grealish's move to Man United is in doubt, reflecting on what Ed Woodward, recently said. Because Ed Woodward came out last Friday, and he told the fans forum that, he insists we will not do business as usual in the transfer market. So what it means in that aspect is that, we won't be spending millions of pounds, and he basically, ruled out big transfers to Manchester United and that. So this is what, Ed Woodward had said. But I still think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does want to spend big, when the summer transfer market does open. But obviously, Solskjaer's planning to clear out. He's planning to get rid of around 5 players, to increase our transfer budget and to fund a move for Jadon Sancho and that. So there you go. But yeah, so I think a lot of Manchester United fans would take Jack Grealish at the football club. I do believe that Jack Grealish is expected to leave Aston Villa. Now, Jack Grealish has remained loyal to Aston Villa for several years. Up until this point, Jack Grealish has spent the entirety of his career with Aston Villa. He's been a Villa player since the age of 6. He's been in their senior squad since 2014, and since then he has become an integral part of their team. And I've got to say, he has flourished under Dean Smith's guidance. Jack Grealish was key for them getting promotion to the Premier League. He was also key for them progressing to the Carabao Cup final. And Grealish has got a contract with Aston Villa until 2023. Now, he did say, I think last week, that we've got a controversial plan if we do sign Jack Grealish. We are planning to reportedly play him as a right winger. That's not his predominant position. Jack Grealish is predominantly an attacking midfielder, even though he's actually not been playing on the left wing for the vast majority of this season. Now, there's a few other clubs that have been in for Jack Grealish, like I mentioned, Tottenham came close to getting him in the summer of 2018. City have been in for him. So there's quite a few clubs that have been in for Jack Grealish, but I think he'll follow the footsteps of James Milner and Gareth Barry, and that. And he is only at the age of 24 and well Premier League proven as well, so that would be beneficial, for Manchester United. But yeah, so he's another player that could possibly replace Paul Pogba at the football club. And so now another player that could replace Paul Pogba, and that is James Maddison. But I'm actually very, very sceptical that Manchester United will get James Maddison when the summer transfer market does open. Because I'll reiterate what I mentioned, was it last week? James Maddison insists he's very, very happy with Leicester and he sees his foreseeable future with Leicester. Because there's no real main explanation, why James Maddison would want to leave Leicester now. Because Leicester have enjoyed a very, very good season. They are sitting third in the Premier League. So I'm actually going to fully disregard James Maddison to Manchester United. Now, obviously, we've always said anyway, or we said recently, should I say, that Jack Grealish is our preference over James Maddison. Because like I said, Jack Grealish would be a cheaper solution. He's more versatile than James Maddison. And before the football season got suspended, you can say he was in better form than James Maddison. But if we got the opportunity to sign James Maddison, I'd definitely take him at Manchester United. James Maddison is now into his second season with Leicester. I think he has made around 70 appearances for them in all competitions. I thought he was also very, very good in his debut season. Don't forget James Maddison is very, very good at creating chances. He created more chances in the Premier League, was it last season, than any other player. So that's a very, very good start. James Maddison has got a contract with Leicester until 2023. So he has still got around 3 years remaining on his contract. Leicester did pay around £20 million for him from Norwich in the summer of 2018. Also enjoyed a good couple of years in the Championship. He's also played in Scotland in the past because he had a loan spell with Aberdeen. And when he was a lot younger, he began his career with Coventry, did James Maddison. I think Maddison is only at the age of 23. He can play as an attacking midfielder and he can also play as a winner. But Leicester would not want to lose James Maddison anyway, because like I've mentioned before, Leicester have lost quite a few of their imperative players in recent years. Don't forget they lost Harry Maguire to us last summer. They lost Raheem Mahrez to City in the summer of 2018, and they lost Danny Drinkwater and N'Golo Kante to Chelsea, did Leicester, so they wouldn't want to lose James Maddison. So yeah, I do see him, remaining at Leicester. Also, too, another midfielder that's been on our agenda, and that is Kai Havertz from Bayer Leverkusen. Now, I give you the news, didn't I, regarding Kai Havertz? Was it yesterday? I think we are now seeing Kai Havertz as an alternative to Jadon Sancho. So if we are to miss out on Jadon Sancho, then we'll look to get Kai Havertz on the board. Like he updated you recently, Chelsea have also expressed an interest in the player. Now, Kai Havertz, would cost us around £90 million, maybe even £100 million. This is how much, Bayer Leverkusen would want for the player. Now, I think it was the other week that the Bayer Leverkusen sporting director came out and he made an admission and he said that Kai Havertz, could leave by Leverkusen in the summer transfer window. Now, Kai Havertz, up until this point, has spent the entirety of his career with Bayer Leverkusen. Yes, he has, and he's only the age of 20, or is he 21? Kai Havertz. Obviously, he was in their youth setup for a good 6 years or 7 years, and I think Kai Havertz has been in Bayer Leverkusen's senior squad since 2016. But since then, he has become an integral part of their team. Don't forget, Kai Havertz became the youngest debutant in the Bundesliga, the youngest their youngest ever goal scorer, and the youngest player to reach a milestone of 50 and 100 appearances in the German top flight. Kai Havertz can play as an attacking midfielder, and he can also play as a winner. So we're also seeing him as a possible replacement for Paul Pogba. So they're the 5 players that could possibly replace Paul Pogba at the football club. There's also been a lot of other midfielders on our agenda because, we do need to recommend a midfielder in the summer transfer market. But so like I've said, Tino, there is a lot of uncertainty, isn't there, over Paul Pogba's future. I just basically, wish we'd resolve Paul Pogba's future. I think, we could slash Paul Pogba's asking price. And if he was to leave Manchester United in the summer transfer market, I think, we could only get around £70 million for the player. We could only get around £70 million for the player. Now, I do believe if Paul Pogba leaves Manchester United, like I've always said, I think he'll either go to Real Madrid. If he doesn't go to Real Madrid, I think he'll make a return back to Juventus, because Paul Pogba did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus. And obviously, since he rejoined Man United back in 2016, the vast majority of his performances have been totally comparison. Like I updated you last week, there was reports emerging out saying that PSG had put an offer in. He said they had offered 2 of their players in a swap deal for Paul Pogba, and the 2 players that they had offered was Julian Draxler and Angel Di Maria. Like I said, Tino, Angel Di Maria is a former Manchester United player. Don't forget we had Angel Di Maria back under the Louis van Gaal era. I think he only enjoyed 1 season at Manchester United. We paid just under £60 million in from Real Madrid, and then we got rid of him after a year, and then we sold him for just under £50 million to PSG, and now he's into his 5th season with PSG, is Angel Di Maria. But like I said, I don't see this swap deal going through, to be quite honest with you. But it did say PSG had offered us Draxler and Angel Di Maria in a swap deal for Paul Pogba. With disregard any swap deal, I think for PSG to get Pogba, they'd have to sell either Mbappe or Neymar, who are the 2 most expensive players in the world. But I don't see Pogba going to PSG. Don't forget, he said last week, or was it the week before? I think it was last week, saying that Inter Milan have also expressed an interest in Paul Pogba. Don't forget, Inter Milan have already recruited 3 of our players. They got Ashley Young offers, Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez. And I think Inter Milan are set to lose Lautaro Martinez because he's been linked to a move to Barcelona. They've also got Mario Icardi out on loan at PSG, and Inter Milan are looking to get rid of him on a permanent transfer. So, Barcelona have been in for Paul Pogba in the past, so a number of clubs have expressed their interest in him. But, Paul Pogba still wants to leave Manchester United. He has made that clear. So he has got the same perception as what he had last summer, because Paul Pogba did reveal last summer that he wanted to leave Manchester United. He was seeking for a new challenge, and he publicly admitted that he wanted to leave the football club. Don't forget, last summer we said we wanted around £180 million for Paul Pogba. So we was just basically demanding over double than what we paid for him from Juventus back in 2016. And, Real Madrid were not willing to meet that £180 million asking price, and this is why his move to Real Madrid didn't materialise. But Paul Pogba was talking a lot about Real Madrid last year, about, his dreams of playing under Zinedine Zidane's guidance. Pogba's got a good relationship with Zinedine Zidane. Also, too, his agent, Mini Raiola, has got a good relation with Real Madrid. And like I said, I think Ed Woodward's had a few negotiations with Mini Raiola, to try and discuss to try and resolve, to try and discuss Paul Pogba's future and that, and to also stop him making public attacks against the club, because since the turn of the year, he's made quite a few public attacks against the football club as Mini Raiola, and reflecting on some of Mini Raiola's comments, Manchester United have been very, very critical of him. Now, like I said, of in regards to Real Madrid, they did recruit around 5 or 6 players in last summer and spent, was it in the 2 or 300 odd million pound range. They got Eden Hazard in, they got Luka Jovic in, they also got Eden Militao in, Rodrigo, Ferland Mendy in that. But they're still looking to do more business. They're also looking to offload players. They're looking to get rid of Dani Ceballos on a permanent transfer. They're looking to get rid of James Rodriguez, looking to get rid of Bale, Jovicic, Luka, Karim, Benzema, he's coming to an end of his career and that. So there you go. So I still think there's a chance that Paul Pogba could go to Real Madrid. The Daily Express said yesterday, we have everything now prepared to sell Paul Pogba. That's what it had basically mentioned. But, like I updated you recently, Ferdinand's come out and give his verdict on Paul Pogba. He believes it should be down to himself to speak on his future. And Ferdinand believes he didn't mean to disrespect Graham Souness, because the other week Paul Pogba had responded to the criticism that he had received from Graham Souness, and Graham Souness has been criticising Paul Pogba persistently in that. And Paul Pogba, responded saying, he didn't recognise Graham Souness, he just heard he was a good player and all of that. So, this was Rio Ferdinand's verdict on it. Alan Shearer came out a couple of weeks ago and he believes that, Solskjaer has made a decision on Paul Pogba's future. But Paul Pogba has got exactly a year left on his Manchester United contract, because, we have decided not to trigger that 1-year extension on his contract. And Paul Pogba's only played 8 times this season for us. His appearances have been limited due to his injuries. I think he did have the surgery on his ankle back in January, did Pogba, but he has only played 8 times this season for the football club. And he gave an interview to the United podcast the other week talking about the issues he's had with injuries and stuff, and it really, really has infuriated him. And when the football season does eventually resume, I think it is resumed on the 8th of June behind closed doors, Paul Pogba should have regained full fitness, because he has been stepping up his fitness regime. But he has sustained quite a few injuries as a Manchester United player. Don't forget, we had Paul Pogba when he was a lot younger, under the Alex Ferguson era. But we had to let him go under the Alex Ferguson era because his appearances were limited at the football club. And I think he did say it was his mother and his brother, that played a big part in him, going to Juventus back in 2012. Also, too, Pogba enjoyed a very, very difficult relationship under the Jose Mourinho era. Well, he enjoyed a bad relationship with Jose Mourinho and that. But we did pay 89 million for him. He's our most expensive signing. And I said if we sell him, it's very imperative that we get more for Pogba than what we paid for him. But over a month or so ago now, Solskjaer was saying that Paul Pogba will remain at Man United next season. This was in Austria prior to the last game. Also, Pogba said earlier on that particular week that he's interested in staying at Man United and he's interested in extending his contract at the football club. But there you go. So that is the latest news regarding him anyway. Now let's delve into news on Declan Rice. I'm going to reiterate some of the stuff I mentioned on my video yesterday morning. So Declan Rice to Manchester United, I think, is very, very unlikely. Even though it does say in the mainstream media that, we've expressed an interest in him. Also, too, Chelsea have expressed an interest in Declan Rice. I think it also mentioned that Arsenal have been in for him. Now, it does mention, West Ham could be forced to sell Declan Rice in the summer transfer market. West Ham, don't really want to lose Declan Rice, so they'll do everything they can to try and convince him to stay. West Ham have revealed their asking price. If they were to sell Declan Rice, they would want around £70 million for the player. Some people believe £70 million is too much for Declan Rice. But don't forget, we've been in for Declan Rice in the past. We've inquired about his availability. He's a very, very good player, is Declan Rice. I think he's done very, very well at West Ham. He is predominantly a defensive midfielder and, we're in search for a holding midfielder. The only the only thing I think the only holding midfielder we've got is Nemanja Matic, so we definitely no need to get a holding midfielder in. Declan Rice has been at West Ham for quite a few years now. I think he's been there since is it 2014 or 2015, so I think he's now into his fifth season with them in total. Declan Rice has got a long-term contract with West Ham. He is under contract with them until 2024. Yes, he is in that. And he is only the age of 21. He can also play as a centre-half as well, but he is predominantly a holding midfielder. Is a possibility chance he could reunite with Chelsea, because don't forget Declan Rice is a former Chelsea player. He was in their youth academy for a good, was it, 7 or 8 years or something like that. I think Chelsea axed him off in 2014, but he actually never got in Chelsea's first team, did Declan Rice. So yeah, West Ham are planning overhauling their squad this summer, so they could actually offload Declan Rice. So now he's another player on our agenda. Yes, he is in that. So that's the news on Declan Rice. I obviously give you the news, didn't I, on Jadon Sancho yesterday. I've been keeping you up to date of what's been going on with Jadon Sancho on a regular basis. I'm actually very, very sceptical that we'll sign Jadon Sancho in the summer transfer market, because Dortmund do remain ruthless over their valuation. Dortmund have said, they want at least £100 million. Some reports have said, they want around £120 million for Sancho, but that would make him a record signing in the Premier League, and it would make him our most expensive signing. Just been reading reports regarding Sancho, and it does say that our board are in love with Jadon Sancho and stuff like that. You had the Borussia Dortmund sporting director coming out recently saying that Borussia Dortmund are relaxed over Jadon Sancho's future. You had the Sun coming out last week saying that we'd agreed personal terms with the player. It said, we'd agreed everything except the fee and stuff like that. This is what it had said. But I believe he'll actually stay at Borussia Dortmund. Maybe not for the foreseeable future, but I think he could be there next season, because it did say the other week that Borussia Dortmund are willing to offer Jadon Sancho a 1-year contract worth around £9 million a year. So that would make him the second highest paid player at Borussia Dortmund, just behind Marco Reus. And if Sancho was to be sold for 100 mil, City would benefit from it, because City, I think, do get around 15% of the transfer fee due to the clauses in his transfer deal from Man City to Borussia Dortmund back in 2017. But I think he's enjoyed a few good years with Borussia Dortmund as Sancho, and I've already outlined a few reasons why it's beneficial, if we did sign him, because he's got a good friendship with Rashford, he's well proven in the Premier League, and he is only at the age of 20 in that. So there you go. But yeah, so that's the latest news on all of that. And like I've said to you, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has revealed his plans for when the transfer market opens. Solskjaer said, he wants to make around 4 signings in the summer transfer market, because he believes we need around 4 signings to become title contenders next season. Don't forget, Solskjaer still wants to continue the policy of recruiting young British players to Manchester United like he did do last summer. Solskjaer, of course, has recruited 5 players in 3 transfer windows, and, spent around £220 million. Of course, last summer he recommended Daniel James, Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire. And in January, of course, he recommended Bruno Fernandes and Odion Ighalo in. And Solskjaer's obviously, already identified the areas, where he thinks Man United need to strengthen up. Obviously, he wants to recommend the centre forward in, he wants to recommend the right winger in, and he also, wants to recommend a midfielder in. There's still some reports emerging out saying that Solskjaer is keen on recommending a centre half in, but I think, we've got too many centre halves in the team, to be quite honest with you. We've got too many centre halves in the team. But I like what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said quite a few weeks ago, because he did actually, say that we will exploit the transfer market, when, it does open and that. So what he means is he believes, we can get the right calibre players into the football club. But I've got to make an admission. I think, we have improved in the transfer market under Solskjaer, to be fair. What I mean is I think, we have been a bit more sensible with our recruitment and stuff like that. because, we have been criticised, in recent years, with us overpaying for players, like 75 million for Lukaku, 89 million for Pogba, 80 million for Maguire, 50 million for Fred, 40 million pounds for Matic, and we have been criticised, on that. We've also been criticised because reflecting on our recruitment policy, because our recruitment policy has been poor in the last 6 or 7 years or so. But yeah, we have improved in the market under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He did actually reveal that Solskjaer had around 9 players on his transfer shortlist before Ed Woodward last week come out with this statement and all of that. Yes. So hopefully, we can get the right players in the summer transfer market, because we need to do that. We really, really do. And yeah, like I said to I think we're planning on getting rid of around 5 players in the summer transfer market. I've got an idea, what players we're going to get rid of. I think we're definitely going to get rid of Phil Jones, because Phil Jones can't even get into the team. Phil Jones is now into his 9th season at Manchester United. He has been here since the Alex Ferguson era as Phil Jones. And I think we paid just over £17 million for him from Blackburn, but very, very inconsistent. And we made the wrong decision last season by giving him a new long-term contract. But no, we can get rid of Jones and we can cash in for him. Maybe we can get 10, maybe £12 million for him. But yeah, definitely get rid of Jones. I think we'll definitely get rid of Jesse Lingard and Andres Pereira, because there are 2 liabilities, are Jesse Lingard and Andres Pereira. The 2 liabilities. Lingard's found game time difficult since the arrival of Bruno Fernandes. Like I said to you before, reflects on Jesse Lingard's status at the football club and reflects on the years he's been here. He should be putting much more better performances out, but he's lost the confidence of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Like I said, we do value Lingard at around £30 million, and he's got exactly a year remaining on his contract. Pereira, he has played regularly throughout the course of this season, but that was only due to Scott McTominay's injury. That's the only reason he was playing. Where I was playing regularly, Andres Pereira, but he only became a regular last season anyway. Pereira has got a contract with the football club until 2023, but we need to offload him. I think we'll also negotiate on getting rid of Smalling on a permanent transfer. Smalling's on loan with Roma. He's done very, very well on his loan spell with Roma as Chris Smalling. Yes, he has. But I think due to financial difficulties, Roma may not be able to get him on a permanent transfer. But I just don't think he'll come back to Man United, because he won't get in the team. I think we've said one around 20 to 25 million if we had to get rid of him permanently. Smalling did enjoy 9 years at Manchester United. Rojo, I think he'll definitely go on a permanent transfer, because Rojo's like our 6th choice centre-half. He's on loan at Estudiantes at the moment. I think there was talks the other week saying he wants his loan extended with Estudiantes. I'd love us to get rid of Alexis Sanchez on a permanent transfer. I think actually, Sanchez could be coming back to the club, so he's set to see out the remainder of his contract. His contract runs until 2022, does Sanchez's. But like I said to you recently, Sanchez is facing a dilemma, because we don't want him back. Inter Milan don't want to get him on a permanent transfer. And I said his wages are having a bad effect on the club, because Sanchez's wages at Man United are £500,000 a week with the image rights and the bonuses. And he said a couple of weeks ago, I think now Sanchez is refusing to take a pay cut. We're still paying like Sanchez 300 grand a week, despite the fact that he is on loan at Inter Milan. So yeah, I think we need to get rid of Alexis Sanchez on a permanent transfer. So I expect around 5 or 6 players to leave Manchester United, when the transfer market does open. But I've got to give Solskjaer a lot of credit. To be fair, he has got rid of a lot of the deadwood since, he has come in. Total of 9 players have left. Like I said before, the football season was suspended. We was in a good vein of form, because we are unbeaten. We are unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions, and I've give some positives from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure so far. Don't forget as well, his approach to the big games this season have been very, very good. We've registered like 17 points against the big 6 sides this season. I also got to make an admission, Solskjaer's promoted the youth very, very well. He has promoted the youth very, very well. The young players have been given their chances this season. And I think we've had the youngest squad in the Premier League this season. I think there's quite a few players or should I say a lot of players that have got foreseeable futures at Manchester United. So yeah, I've got to credit him for that. As his approach to the games against lower opposition haven't been so good though. I still don't think Solskjaer knows his best formation as yet, so that's something he does need to address. Obviously, on a regular basis throughout the course of this season, Solskjaer's been going with that 4-2-3-1 formation, but from my own perception, we look more expansive with that 3-5-2 formation. And he's gone with three at the back a lot against, the elite opposition, and it seems to have worked out, to be quite honest with you. So I think, we should stick with three at the back. Mike Phelan, our number two, don't forget, recently outlined the reasons why Solskjaer's been changing formation throughout the course of this season. But yeah, and Solskjaer has been at Manchester United now 16 months, so he has been at the football club over the year. And like I said to you recently, I give you I outlined a couple of reasons what saved Solskjaer's job. I've got to say, with the signing of Bruno Fernandes has saved his job. You can also put Odion Ighalo into the equation. We'll probably get Odion Ighalo permanently, to be quite honest with you. And I think also the 6-0 win against Tranmere, saved his job. So there's a few things, that saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job at Manchester United. Definitely in that. But like I said to we have been inconsistent for the last 6 or 7 years or so. We've been inconsistent. We have been playing catch-up since the Alex Ferguson era. We've had different managers with different philosophies. We've spent close to the £1 billion range on players, and we've recruited over 30-odd players in since the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, we sat Moyes, we sat Van Gaal, and we sat Jose Mourinho. So Solskjaer's our fourth permanent manager since the Ferguson era. But like I said, we have enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. But Ed Woodward has come out and said on numerous occasions throughout the course of this season that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job is safe, because maybe he believes we can get our 21st title under Solskjaer. This is, what Ed Woodward does believe. But we haven't won the Premier League since 2013. The last time we won it was in Alex Ferguson's last season. By the way, I give you the news on Thomas Partey, didn't I, yesterday? Like I said to you, it was stemming from Sadiq Adams, who specifies on African transfers, and he said that Thomas Partey wants to come to Man United, and he's told Atletico Madrid he does want to leave in the summer. Don't forget, Arsenal are also in for Thomas Partey. So yeah, he's another midfielder on our agenda. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.